So first of all, Damon, I would like to thank you for taking out your precious time to give us your valuable feedback. So maybe we just can start with you and would love to hear about you and your company.
Thank you. Yeah, my company's called Win. We're a small agency based out of Dallas, Texas. We started at the end of 2020. Our goal primarily was, at the beginning, was to help clients out, small and medium business, with kind of like an outsourced or fractional CMO. So that meant whatever digital marketing needs a client needed, they would hire me and my team, and we would come in and look at their needs and go from there. Among those needs has been Salesforce. Today, our company has expanded primarily into e-commerce, and we do email marketing and some other things, but Cloud Analogy and the partnership that I've got has been primarily focused on my client need for Salesforce. So that's what we're here today, and I'm happy to say that my growth with my company has paralleled my growth with you all.
Thank you so much, Damon, and it was great to hear about your journey. Now, my second question would be, maybe now you can tell us, where did you find us?
I found you all on Upwork. So the journey was that to find you all was I went to a number of different sources online and whatnot. And so, of course, hard to find somebody that you trust. So I actually interviewed a couple of different companies, and what I was looking for in particular was like knowledge of Salesforce using some of the standard objects. Everybody that I was talking to had some sort of exotic solution to the problem that I thought I had. And that's another thing too, especially with Salesforce, is I know enough to make myself dangerous, and I needed a trusted partner that I could rely upon to lead me where I needed to go. So when I talked to you all and started going down that path, I found you on Upwork, and the solution presented was more in line with the standard objects and the functionality already built into Salesforce, where I found the other providers were all over the place looking at exotic custom modules. I didn't like that. So the solution was straightforward. And looking back, it's been a year now, over a year, and definitely we've gone all over the place because my needs a year ago were quite a bit different than today. But you all have been a trusted partner with me the entire time and helping me along that journey to get where we're at today.
Yes, Damon, and thank you so much for always trusting Cloud Analogy. And there has been a year, I can say more than a year, we are into a relationship and giving in this engagement a better chance to grow, right?
Yes,
now,
exactly.
Yeah, I believe Harshdev have some questions. Please, you can go ahead, Harshdev.
Thanks, Dick. Okay, Damon, can you please let us know how the work we have done for you and your experience working with us?
Yeah, so kind of alluded to on the last question was when I first came in, and I recently looked back at my original query, it was way different than what we probably needed. It was very narrow in scope, and that was primarily because I had not gotten deep into what the current situation was with this particular client's implementation of Salesforce. Kind of to give some quick background on this particular client was they developed Salesforce back in 2019, and it hadn't been touched for 2 years. This is 2021 when our engagement started. And it was obvious, like the team was not using Salesforce. They didn't have to. They had another ERP they were using. And so when I talked to the decision makers at the client, they had one interpretation of what needed to be done. So I came in with my engagement with you all with those preconceived notions. So what's happened is we first came in and did some, what I would say are light adjustments and changes to Salesforce. But then once we went through that, we unearthed the fact that Salesforce is way off from where we need it to be. And ultimately, they want Salesforce to be talking to their legacy ERP software, with the ERP called Sage being the source of truth of all the data. So even on that, I did research and try to find multiple solutions to connect to the ERP. And with all the modifications the client had done, the best solution had been, really through you all. And it would be like a stepped approach. The client wasn't willing to spend a ton of money all up front. And instead, Harshdeep, you and I have worked together for the last year, just incrementally adding on pieces. sometimes going back and fixing some of those pieces because they seem to work, and then all of a sudden the client finds some way to break it or to do something else. So it started off originally to get in the weeds, just being some updates to inventory and vehicle. It's an automobile dealership, and being a way of them finding the inventory, all the way now to automating inventory imports from their ERP, bringing in customer data from the ERP, bringing in invoicing in the ERP to really close the loop on data from Salesforce into the Sage ERP that they use. And and all of the lead, sources that they have coming in, and really connecting it all in there and making Salesforce kind of live up to its expectation of being like a sales hub. And we're almost there. Every day we make progress on it.
And according to you, what are the areas of improvements that we need to work upon?
I think the main thing that I could use help on is my lack of knowledge, frankly. So let me explain that. So it's easy for me to say, let's take my example of when we started off. I'm like, the client says they need to be able to manage vehicles in Salesforce. Fantastic. But what's really the underlying purpose that the client has? I can ask for something like for example, let's import leads. Fantastic. Or import invoices. This is something we're talking about right now. Yes, we want to import invoices, but why? Well, we want to import invoices because we need to have a complete client or customer, a history, a complete full circle view of that customer. That's the purpose. So I think if there's any opportunity that we have to work together, it's maybe uncovering the underlying business use case underneath it. So maybe Damon comes in with, hey, I just need this little simple ask, but what's really underneath that simple ask that's more, tied to the business use case, and then leading me to say, hey, time out, pros and cons, here's what we need to do. It's bigger than what you're thinking, and let's discuss that and see what we're going at. And it's one of those things that personally I need to work on, but I think any relationship like that, what we've got, we need to go and unearth it. And that happens with my clients. And, to take a step back in my life, the reason why I'm working with the clients that I do is because I have industry knowledge. And in particular, this is an automobile dealership, but it's for wheelchair accessible vehicles. I worked in the industry for 7 years and worked at the largest dealer in the country. We were publicly traded and all that. So I've got all of this knowledge. So when the client says, Damon, we want to do this, I understand it's a simple ask, but I know from my experience all the weight behind it, what it really takes. So I don't under-promise and under-deliver or over-promise and under-deliver. Instead, I can go in there. And I think likewise, what I could use some assistance on is saying, hey, Damon, I know it sounds simple, but let's talk about what we're really trying to do here. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now. And that's the opportunity that all of us have.
Yeah, that's all the questions that I have.
Perfect.
And it was always great that you were always open with your queries. Like if you have any question, you just ping directly, Harshdeep. I just don't want to know that. Yeah, so we really appreciate that thing. And lastly, I would like to know if any feedback for us, or will you recommend us to others?
I think you all you've lived up to the promise of being a trusted partner. Like any long-term project, there are bumps in the road. And in my personal opinion, what differentiates the good partners from the bad partners are what happens when problems occur. And you all have been highly responsive. We had a couple communication things with another third party that the third party was, they're off for their own deal and they don't want to be bothered. And we worked out a solution for communication and it worked out really well. And I believe that our partnership endures because of when those situations occur. And by the way, they occur in all projects that we're able to work together and come up with a common solution. You're not shy or bashful to jump in and say, let's jump on a call and talk about this. And I believe that that's what makes a good partnership. So I want to say thank you for the hard work and not running away from a difficulty, but running right into it. and that's really, really important to me. And I think that's, I know that's why we're still here working together at this point, a year into this project, and hopefully there'll be more in the future, right?
Yes, of course, Damon. And thank you so much for always giving us the opportunity and always trusting us. So yeah, thank you so much for your valuable feedback. And we are surely looking forward to a long-term engagement with you, and would be there to assist you anytime you need us.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.